In this video, you will learn how to install and set up a Bitcoin Knots node. You might be asking why I'm setting up a Bitcoin Knots node instead of a standard Bitcoin Core node. This will all be discussed in this video. I assume that you have prior knowledge of what a Bitcoin node is. If you don't, there's a link in the description. If you do proceed with running a node, you will basically become a participant in the network, and your node will store a copy of the entire Bitcoin blockchain, i.e. all transactions. Since Bitcoin was invented in 2008 until now, hundreds of computer programmers from around the world have volunteered their time to improve the node software. So basically, Bitcoin Core is essentially the reference implementation of the Bitcoin protocol. It's the original and most widely used full node software of the Bitcoin network. These software engineers cannot control Bitcoin and are only Bitcoin coders to the extent that they provide node operators with the software the node operators want to adopt. These coders face a strong incentive to abide by consensus rules if they are to have their code adopted. Thus far, only minor and uncontroversial changes to the code have ever been implemented, and every attempt to alter the network significantly has ended with a resounding failure. So why am I about to set up a Bitcoin Knots node and not a Bitcoin Core node? Bitcoin Core are introducing a code change to allow spam, for example, embedded JPEG files and non-monetary trash to be relayed between node runners. Yes, you heard that right. Node runners will be forced to relay and restore spam that doesn't benefit the network, what is essentially non-monetary data. So a Bitcoin Knots node is an alternative option to use, which includes a stricter and more customizable anti-spam mechanism. Running a Bitcoin Knots node will help prioritize legitimate transactions versus spam, and the node can accept or reject certain types of transactions. In this video, I'll give you two options for setting up a Bitcoin Knots node. This first option is more of a high-level description only. The first option for running a Bitcoin Knots node at home is to buy and use a Start9 standalone server. The price is around $5.99 USD, which is around 19,500 Thai baht. I recommend this server one with 2 TB and 32 GB RAM. You can access the Start9 on any browser and use it on any operating system. Just plug it into your Wi-Fi modem, it runs 24/7 and you're good to go. The CPU usage will be around 5 to 10%. After downloading the node, you'll have enough storage for the remaining Bitcoin blockchain, which is around 670 GB. Now let's get into the second option, in which I will provide step-by-step instructions on how to download the Knots node onto a Macbook Pro M4 laptop. Now let's proceed with downloading the Bitcoin Knots node. So we will go to Bitcoin Knots GitHub, there it is. This is the website, github.com. Okay, now we're going to click on the Bitcoin registry. It's this one. Now, here are the releases. Look, it says this is the latest release. This is the version 20.1. This is the one we want. But look, I'll expand all the releases here, and I'll scroll down to the bottom and just check. Let's open the 33 assets there. It'll be down the bottom of the page here. One we're looking for is the Apple Darwin zip. Oh, look, there it is there. Okay, so this is the latest version of Bitcoin Knots. It's 28.1. Knots 20250305 8664. This is the one, Apple Darwin zip. Okay, so let's click on that. We'll wait a few seconds. There it is. Double click on that. Okay, it's in downloads. Let's open it up. You go open to this message. There it is there, it's opening up. Welcome to Bitcoin Knots. Okay, that's fine. 1.5 GB space available, right. That's all good. It's the first time I've read this message, so just checking. That's all okay, I think. Right, and there's the node. Okay, so that was pretty simple. Here you can see the knots node installation was successful. The full history of the transactions on the blockchain is slowly being downloaded, as you can see here. Take a look at this little spider looking icon here. It's filled up with grey at the moment. When the full history of the blockchain is downloaded, this will all be grayed out here. That's what this little icon is referring to. You can see it's slowly being downloaded here. We're up to September 2013. I did notice when I initially just downloaded the node, I looked at the date stamp and it was January 2009. The first block on the Bitcoin blockchain is known as the Genesis block and was mined by Satoshi Nakamoto on the 3rd of January 2009. That block actually contained a special message from Satoshi, and I quote, "The time 03 Jan 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks," which I think is quite funny. Satoshi was referencing a newspaper article from the Times of London on the same day, 3rd of January, and basically it was a subtle mocking of the traditional financial system. Technically speaking, this could be the end of the video. However, if you want to help this cause and make your node counted on various dashboards, which effectively summarize which nodes are reachable and what versions are running, then you should really give your node a public Tor address. So if you take a look at the count here, we've got 3,367 Bitcoin knots nodes so far. I think it's great to see this many nodes, which is basically around 15%. It's a clear message to the core dev team. I'm a Bitcoin maxi from way back, so I want the core devs to see this knots count growing more. Their actions deserve a middle finger, in my opinion, and this is the way to help the cause. Now we can start the process of getting a public Tor address, and we can use the code from the legendary Paul's Code website. Paul's Code, there it is. And we are going to look for make knots, oh there it is, make knots reachable over Tor on Windows, Mac and Linux. So click on that. Now we obviously have a Mac. Oh there we are, the Mac OS. So click that little arrow is pointing right there, just click right on that to expand it. Now step 1 is install Tor via Homebrew. This video actually assumes that you have already downloaded Homebrew. Homebrew is just a package manager that provides a command line interface, accessed via the terminal on your Mac. There's actually a link there, which is obviously, let's take a look. That must be, yeah, look, it's the Homebrew page. I didn't know that was there, but that'll probably have steps how to install the Homebrew, but I actually didn't do that. I asked on ChatGPT. I just followed my nose in a way. So look at this first step. Okay, so you already have Homebrew installed. Let's assume you've done that. And what we do is we copy and paste the command line. Open up terminal. If you want to just check that your installation of Homebrew has been successful, you could just check the version by typing this in. Oh look, there it is. Okay, so this tells me that I have installed Homebrew correctly. It's version 4.5.0, so we're good to go. So we copy and paste this first step because we want to install Tor via Homebrew. Just paste it in there. Select the enter button. And we can just wait less than a minute for that to happen. The second step is permitting the control port access. So whilst we're waiting, we'll just copy and paste that now. Okay, successfully started Tor, so that's been successful. All right. Now for step 2, we're going to permit the control port access. Let's paste that in the command line in there. It's asking for a password. What I entered was just the password on my Macbook Pro. That worked okay. And you can see that step 1 was successful because of this pop-up here. Background items added. Tor is an item that can be run in the background. You can manage this via the login items and extensions. So that confirms that step 1, installing the Tor via Homebrew, was successful actually. So now we don't need the terminal anymore, so we can kill that. We're up to step 3 here. From Bitcoin Knots, open settings, options. So let's open up Bitcoin Knots there. If I go to the top menu there, there's no settings actually, but it's got preferences. So let's try that one. It might have made a little error there. Yeah, so there's no settings, but just go to Bitcoin Knots preferences. Let's move that over a bit. What's that say? And we want to enable RPC server. So let's go back there. Okay, there it is there. We click the checkbox, and this little red error warning message comes up. Client restart required to activate changes. So we will go OK to that. And let's first look at step 4. And we're going to configure the Bitcoin knots. That's spelled incorrectly to KON, yeah, but that doesn't matter. From Bitcoin knots, open the preferences, options, open the configuration file. Where is that? Here it is, down here. So let's open up the configuration file. To read that additionally. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I think this is just a notepad, and what we want to do here is, I suppose we copy and paste that, paste that into the note file. Yep, and click file, save. It's been saved. We exit. And that's step 4. And now theoretically we're up to step 5, which we shut down knots and restart it. Grab your new node's onion address. Okay, so let's shut down. We can close all this. Quit. Bitcoin knots are shutting down. Have completed step 4. Now we're up to step 5. First, we should open up the node again. That's the first step. Let's have a look at this. Now we're up to December 2015, so we're slowly getting to download all the transactions. Now, so we've completed step 4. Have you noticed this little P here? This wasn't here before, and this means that everything's been successful, and the P stands for proxy. So we're basically connected to the Tor proxy. That's what that P there is in the bottom right hand corner. Now, if we look at step 5, it says shut down knots, restart. I did that. Grab the node's onion address from Bitcoin knots, open window. So if we were to go to Bitcoin knots and the window there, alright, we're going to go to console. There we are. Red warning message, scammers have been active, telling users to type commands here, stealing their wallets, contents. That's not really relevant for what we're doing right now, because essentially all we're doing is going to step 5 and copying this command here. Go back to, oops, let's go back to the console. There it is. Paste that command into the console. Hit enter. Right, now see this here? This is the public Tor address for my Bitcoin knots node. See, it's got .onion there. So we want to copy and paste this, but don't include the inverted commas there. So just copy that. And now what we want to do is paste this into, let's go to Chrome. Where are we? Chrome, there we are. Okay, we're finished with this now. We've done all the steps. We go to bit nodes with an s.io. Here we go. BitNodes estimates the relative size of Bitcoin peer-to-peer network by finding all of its reachable nodes. Okay. And look, there's a map of the world where all the nodes are. Now, join the network. Okay, here we go. This is what I was saying before, about 5 minutes ago. We want to be part of the count for the Bitcoin knots node. What we do is we delete that. We put in the public Tor address for my node. See, it's got, that's the one I copied and pasted from step 5. and we click on check node. That could take up to 30 seconds, it's saying. And we have success here. We've got a green tick here with a green font, which means it's all worked correctly. If you see a red tick here with red font, then obviously it hasn't worked, and there are 3 things you can check. Number 1, are you using the right address? You can navigate to Knott's interface's peer interface and copy the TOR address into the box and try it again. Or number 2, Knott's needs to be fully synced for it to be visible on bitnodes.io, so that's something you could check. And number 3, it might be a static IP issue. Check your network settings to confirm your node is reachable. To finish up with this video, let's take a look at the Knott's node count. We'll go back to CoinDance, click on that tab, and look at the count now. It's 3383. Earlier in this video when we started, it was 3367, so in just a short time it's increased a little bit, which is great. That includes my nodes that I just set up as well. I mean, basically I feel passionate about helping the Bitcoin ecosystem because Bitcoin's been very good to me over the years. I only own a trivial amount of Bitcoin now, having stupidly sold some 3 to 4 years ago to buy land, and I also just sold the remaining of my Bitcoin this year. But despite all this, I want to really help take a stand against the Bitcoin Core dev team, who are possibly receiving financial kickbacks from BTC miners to implement this ridiculous code change. If you want to know that filters spam, then choose Bitcoin Knott's node. In the future, if you need help with installing this node, you can always look at this website here, or you can ask questions on Reddit forum, which is essentially the soy 6 of the internet, but it is possible to get some useful advice on that forum, or you can send me an email and I can point in the right direction. Thanks for watching this video.